Today we had the pleasure of having Jeremy Brown on, land guru, publishing savant, and follower of Christ, to tell us a little bit about why Sioux Falls is awesome. If you're liking these episodes, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Okay.
I'll do some cheese and I'll do milk straight from the cow.
Okay.
Straight up.
I tried the straight
Cow
from the
to
cow.
bucket.
I couldn't do it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I can't do anything else. So I didn't do dairy for
Oh.
almost 6 years of any kind. And I can do raw milk. I can't do any other kind of dairy.
Oh. Gotcha.
Like
any
I can't
kind
wait.
of raw dairy, right? You're saying?
No, I can do any. I can do raw dairy from cows.
Okay.
Cheese, I mean, and then straight up, even if it's homogenized a little bit or whatever all the names they give it, I still can't. I can like instantly tell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. See, that's the thing with milk for me. I can instantly tell. I'm like, ugh. It's just like the smell of it, you know? It's just,
Oh, so we got 6 gallons that show up on Tuesdays. I can't wait to I'm going to knock this out with you. I'm going to go get some milk.
and then you're just going to
I'm gonna
knock
eat
a
a
whole gallon
steak,
back.
and I'm going to have a big old glass of milk. Oh,
Carnivore
I feel like
diet.
a man. I feel like an animal.
January, right? It's
Yeah.
since January.
Started
Have
in
you
January.
noticed like a change in
Oh, yeah.
weight?
I couldn't work out before.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't about weight for me. I was like, I just didn't. I did the gluten-free, dairy-free, all that.
Yeah.
I did an elimination. I did everything because I had like autoimmune problems and all that kind of stuff. I hadn't been able to work out for like a decade.
Whoa.
I couldn't do it without injuring myself. And so when Brooke had our last kid, I threw my back out like 3 days before she had her baby. So like I had a back brace on when she was in labor. And I was like, I'm done with this.
You're like,
And
hey,
so
sorry, I can't help you.
I did, but I was like, she's going straight up all natural, and I'm in there
Yeah.
taking a big old thing.
You guys go to
ibuprofen.
Flourish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came to our house.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Oh yeah,
So,
dude, it's
Flourish.
awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, home birth.
It's
People call me
super
nuts,
cool.
and I'm like, dude, that's how it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. It was a totally different experience.
That's awesome.
You'll love it.
You should get into some sourdough. Maybe I'll bake you a
We do.
sourdough bread. Okay, you're
yeah,
into
my wife
sourdough
does.
too.
I don't eat it anymore, but my wife does sourdough all the time. It's
Oh,
delicious.
so good.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. That's the other thing though. Like I notice after doing this diet, I'm like, it triggers me. So I'm just gonna stick with it, and I'm gonna try to like bring some of those things back.
Bring it back in. Kind of like when you do like Whole30 and then they say like
Yeah.
bring some things back in and see what you're allergic to. Kind of the same kind of mentality.
But like when I read about carnivore, I was like, I want to do that. It was the first diet I ever read about, and I was like, that fits me, and I freaking love it.
I should
love it.
Kayla's parents run a hog farm.
Yeah.
I should and they have some cows on it too.
Yeah.
As a hobby, I guess. But they have their motto is eat meat like you mean it.
You bet.
I should get you one of those shirts.
Respect. That's awesome. That's me.
Yeah. So,
Oh heck yeah, dude. So
Okay.
yeah, it's been a game changer for me.
good.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
yeah.
you.
Hey, you gotta, feel good physically, mentally, spiritually, all the things. Like growing up, I never had that. Like
Yeah.
it was like weird in the 90s. It would be like cereal, Pop Tarts, like nutrition didn't matter at
Yeah.
all.
Well, and they made foods differently back then.
Yeah.
A Pop-Tart today is not the Pop-Tart of 1990. It's a whole big laundry list of ingredients now.
True.
Wasn't that way back then,
Yeah.
you know? Anyways, we can get on a rabbit hole with
I
this
know.
stuff.
Yeah, we could. So
This inevitably leads to political conversation, so we better stop.
yeah. Okay. Well, if we go into that, we could just say stop.
Let's talk about first question right out of the gate. Trump or Biden? What do you pick? Or now Kamala. So let's
yeah,
just lead with that.
You're gonna put me in this like pigeonhole right away. So I think Trump right now.
No, I'm saying like that's how we should start.
The whole thing.
podcast.
Oh
Hey,
yes,
welcome, guys. Move to Sioux Falls. So let's talk about Kamala.
Yeah.
What are your
Hit
thoughts?
fire questions. Who are you going with, Kamala or Trump?
And why? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Have we been rolling? Okay, cool.
That's great. This is the
Cool.
first segment is done.
Yep, just move that nice and tight.
Check.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Okay, so hit fire questions. Just getting to know our interviewee, Jeremy Brown.
Yes,
That's your name?
that's me.
Okay.
You got it right. Good
No-
memory.
Okay. I just came up with this one. Okay, so favorite accent to do.
Favorite accent to do? So all accents for me inevitably lead me back to, I don't know why this is for me, but they inevitably lead me back to Arnold Schwarzenegger campaign trail promises. I don't know why. I could start with an Irish accent, an Australian accent. If I talk in it long enough, it leads me back to my go-to Arnold Schwarzenegger campaign trails. I'm gonna turn this around, and I just end up back there. I don't know why.
Whoa, that was pretty good.
Thank you. I've been practicing it for a long time.
And then you do the Terminator, like I'll be back.
I don't. It's strictly political.
Okay, gotcha.
No, so I don't know why. That's my wife tells me every time you start talking in a weird accent, if I stay in it long enough, I'm back to Arnold. So I don't know why that is.
That's awesome.
That's my go-to though, evidently.
Okay, next question. Favorite state you visited?
This is gonna shock people.
Okay.
My favorite state, and I've been to a little over 30 of them in the last 3 years. But with my dad, I grew up in the truck with my dad. We drove all over the country.
Okay.
Favorite state, California.
What?
California. Best people. Awesome terrain. It was a blast. Can't wait to go back out there. I would have never thought I would say that.
Okay.
I had one run-in with their government, and I was like, this is why people don't like you guys. I'm out. Couldn't get out of there fast enough. But people were amazing.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We didn't go to the big cities, though.
For sure.
Like, we didn't go to the big cities.
No San Diego.
No.
LA.
Nope. Got through LA as fast as we could, which was like 2 hours.
Okay.
We went up from Irvine. We went all the way south, all the way up north to Sacramento, like middle north. We didn't make it up to like the Redding area. Yeah. It was awesome. And I never thought I would say that.
Sacramento is sick. If you ever, I think you're going, right? In a month?
Yeah, we're going to go back to the Sacramento area, like just north of it. And we're totally going to Redding this time. Like, we're going to absolutely.
Yeah, do it.
My kids love the ocean, though. It was awesome. So I've never been east, though.
Oh, you got to go East Coast.
For me, it's been heavy Chicago west. Okay. I've been to almost every state Chicago west, except for like Idaho. Okay. That's the only one, and that's the only one. So
you're going to have to like come back when you've been to the East Coast, because that could change your answer, right?
It could totally change my answer. I'm open to that. So
who do you call the most? I see you on the phone a lot. Who do you call the most?
Besides my wife?
No, it could be your wife. But
my wife.
Okay, good. That's a great answer.
I'm dialing her up. She's calling me up. We've got 5 boys.
Awesome.
A lot of activity, a lot of communication, a lot of checking in. How are you doing? What do I need? I call her every day. What do I need to pick up on my way home?
Yeah.
Anything at all. I think that's like a great habit. Husband, man, dad habit. But yeah, it's my wife.
Good.
Not even close. Second place.
Good.
Second place of that. Who am I calling? I am calling sellers, and I am calling sellers of land and authors of books.
Okay.
I'm always talking to those 2 demographics of people.
That's awesome. Like entrepreneur, run your own businesses. That's a good second place.
Yeah.
So I think my second should be Jesus. I should probably call him up more, but
that's a great way to really make me feel bad about your spiritual life. You are very spiritual. You call your wife, and then you call Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a good person to have in speed
I mean,
dial.
it's free.
What's his number? Text me his number.
I mean, right here.
Yeah,
there you
right.
go. That's his number. All 10 digits.
Wow.
There you go.
That's awesome. That's a good answer right there.
What's it should probably be number 1 on the list, but so yeah.
It's all right. You can call Jesus to get to the other things. Jesus,
sure.
I'm ready to call this seller.
Yeah.
Help me out here.
For sure. Yeah.
Jesus, I need another listing.
Yeah.
Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Please.
For sure.
Thank you.
What's your favorite restaurant here in Sioux Falls?
Favorite restaurant, I would have to say the Daily.
Okay. Yeah, you were just talking about that.
Clean. Yes, sir. Just came from there.
Yeah.
I love it. Good food.
Yeah.
Second to that, Pomegranate, then Co-op. They're not technically restaurants.
Yeah, but Daily is the sit down restaurant.
My go-to
is that
place.
like what you would go with to your wife on a date or something?
Probably.
Okay. I thought it'd be like Maury's Steakhouse, since the carnivore diet.
I wish, but Yeah, we usually just go straight up to the daily, and it's very close to our home.
Oh yeah.
So like when we get a date, it's like a solid 2 hours.
Yeah.
Grandparents can tolerate that amount of kids for about that amount of time. It's our sweet spot.
Cool.
We hit up the daily and just hang out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's your favorite?
Oh, no one's asked me that in a while because there's so many. I would say my favorite is our wine bar. I just love their steak and gnocchi. It's
All
the
right.
bomb, and they got this bottle of wine called the Troublemaker. You get in trouble with it, so I usually just have like 1 or 2 glasses max. So
The Troublemaker.
yes,
Okay.
so
That sounds interesting. I'm
shout
gonna have
out
to go
our
try.
wine bar and Ricardo. So
You bet.
yeah, so yeah, you'll definitely get done in 2 hours if you need that a lot of time.
Unless you get in
so,
trouble.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. Okay, I think we're good with HitFire.
Let's make some intentionally awkward moments.
Okay, like I don't know what to talk about. Awkward
Like-
or just like
Really long, awkward silence. Or we go like, what? Hey, no, you go. What?
no, you go. Should we
Wait,
sign?
what?
Should we sign?
So what? No, you go ahead.
I don't know how to sign.
I don't know
but-
what to do with my hands. I was doing the Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my
Oh.
hands right now? What's that? Oh, shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake.
or the Magic Man. That's a
What's
good movie.
next?
So next we just get into
I'm turning the
like,
tables.
who
I'm
you-
asking you questions.
Oh, okay.
This is a
You're the
takeover.
interviewer now. Okay.
This is called Moved to Sioux Falls.
This is called
Welcome
Move
to
Sioux
the new
Falls.
podcast.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. So what's next is usually like I ask you questions. Like,
Let's do it.
so Jeremy, you are a publisher,
Yes, sir.
author, and you do land. So like maybe tell me, I know I've heard your story a little bit, but like how you're like in Sioux Falls and then how you got into like publishing and then like land, because that's kind of how it went, right?
Yeah, so I've been publishing it's been 17 years now. I'm a really bad reader and I'm a really bad writer. So that's what led me into the industry.
Okay.
Literally, because I sat down as a early 20-year-old and said, I have so much wisdom and experience, I should really write a book. And so went to Scooters on 57th and Western, sat down and said, I'm going to write this book in a weekend, and realized I can't write at all. I'm really bad. I can talk, but I can't write. And that problem is how I started the business. I can talk and communicate. I can't write. I hate it. I'm bad at it. So I just made a little system where I spoke, somebody else wrote, I edited it, and then went all the way through to publish the book.
Okay.
And so, but got into land simply because I was looking for land around Sioux Falls. I think this is a great market
Mhm.
for people who want to be everyday, like Midwestern. You got the dreamy, picturesque
Mhm.
views. You got all the
Yep.
things. I'm looking at land and I'm going, I need to learn how to find off-market deals, because I got to find a way to find off-market deals. And the more I learned about that, I'm like, there's a business here. And I learned the business and kind of learned everything I wanted to know. And I found out intellectual property, books,
Yep.
and real property, vacant land, there's a lot of parallels in terms of like the
Okay.
mentality of it.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I started doing deals. I started doing them in Arizona, found a little niche in the market.
Okay.
And then I just put my head down, started doing deals, and pulled my head back up and realized we did over 100 deals in, about a year plus.
Dang.
I just wasn't having a great time. And I just
Good.
wanted to put in reps. That's why I respect you and your business of what you're doing and all the things you and your wife are up to with Sodax Days and
Yep.
with Move to Sioux Falls, is you get a lot of reps in. Anybody who's willing to put in a lot of reps, you're going to win.
Yeah.
Like, that's the name of the game. And I would always rather try and fail at something than not try at all. It sounds like so cliche.
A lot of people talk about that. That's how you get there.
It's so cliche, but it truly is as simple as that. I did so many deals in real estate because I just put my head down and said, I'm just going to focus on the next deal. And that's it. In the publishing world, I said, every book we do, we're going to do it as good as we can.
Mhm.
And I never did any marketing. I did it for marketing for like a year and a half, hated it, stopped. I've never done any marketing, and I don't like it. Same thing with real estate. I don't solicit investors. I
Yeah.
make sure the deals I do are really good, they're really profitable, and the people will show up. And that's why, like you're doing right now with this podcast, with everything you're up to, just get really good at what you do.
Yeah.
And you won't have to worry about networking or asking for referrals or all the
For
things.
sure.
Just get really good at what you do, build something really cool. People will show up.
Yeah. So I hate cold calling, and so that's why I was like, "Oh, I'm pretty good at, like, social media. I think I could be good at this."
Yeah.
So, like, that's kinda why I was like, "Oh, I can grind, get reps," and, like, that's kinda how I got started in the business of real estate, getting really, like, honing the craft,
Yeah.
right? Before it was, like, Sodak Stays took off,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, "Oh, I'm already in real estate. What's another thing in real estate that I could, like, get better at?"
Yeah.
So, I'm still thinking, like, what should be the other, like, diversified thing of income.
Well,
So,
and like you hone your craft, you told a story,
yeah.
and I think you do a good job at that on Instagram. I follow you, and I think everybody should follow you. Obviously,
Thanks.
rate the
Appreciate it.
show, or
Yeah.
I'll do the call to action right on the front end.
Yeah.
But you do a good job. Your storytelling about Albert the man, Albert the dad, the husband, the things, and Albert the realtor.
Yeah.
And you make some pretty funny memes too. I respect the meme game, so it's good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I try a lot of things, and then you see what works, what doesn't work, and then you kinda go from there. So,
Mhm.
you talked about, your bad writer. I actually am the same way. My mom has her doctorate and, 2 masters, and she is, like, big into writing and reading and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I have been trying to make an ebook, and I think we're gonna probably link up afterwards to, like, do something together on this ebook. Uh, but I saw, like, there's an application, my mom was talking about it, where you can just talk. It's almost like talk to text into
Yeah.
Word now.
Mhm.
Is that now, like, the new thing that you do if you were gonna write a book, is just talk into the Word? Or
I think that there's so many tools out there. They're going
Yeah.
to keep evolving. And I think you just got to know what your message is and have
Okay.
the ability to deliver it, whether it's voice to text, whether you sit down and you do type. I had an author call this morning. He's like, you know what? I finally got rid of everything. I started with a blank piece of paper and I spit out 4,000 words.
Whoa.
That's a lot of volume of words.
Wow.
I haven't heard that for a long time of an author saying, I just started with a blank page. So you find your groove
Wow.
and you find the right tools that amplify your voice and make it
For sure.
easier to go from thinking to words or speaking to words. Writing a book is hard. So I respect anybody who does it, anybody, and even the people who make bad ones like I did with my first book. It's hard to do. It's a big, hairy project. There's a lot of twists and turns. You have a lot of life in the middle from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Difficult project. But yeah, you just got to find your groove.
What was your first book? Was it the Get It Done book or no?
Nope. So
Oh,
Get It
different.
Done book for me was probably my 6th or 7th. I
Okay.
think I'm working on my 14th and 15th right now when you
Okay.
throw in like the curriculum and everything. But my first book was so I'll tell you this. I found a copy and I started like reading it out loud at the table, and and everybody was rolling because I was reading it pretty enthusiastically, and
Yeah.
it's so bad. And my son Baron was like, "Dad, is this a joke book? What is this
Oh
book?"
no.
So it was called No Limit Living,
Okay.
and it was so bad. I'm on the cover like this, like the
Oh yeah. Like
meme
yeah.
version of entrepreneur in my grandma's living room. My aunt took the picture. It's so bad. But you know what? That book changed my life.
Okay.
So it totally changed the game for me.
Was this before you found Christ or after?
Before.
Okay.
I mean, I knew God existed.
Okay.
I remember holding my son. I'm 19 years old. I had a son born. I'm not married. No
Yeah.
desire to get married
Mhm.
whatsoever. And I remember holding him going, if there's a God that loves me, even as little bit of what I love this guy, there's something to that.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of put that thought away.
Okay.
So I was not a Christian. I did not have thoughts like that.
Okay.
When I wrote that book, I was kind of Christian-y,
Yeah.
but really no. I'm
What
going to do my thing, and that's kind of what I'm going
What
to do.
was like the big aha moment? Because I know I've heard you on
Yeah.
like a few podcasts in Sioux Falls, and I don't know if I like remember the aha.
Yeah. So when I become a dad,
You
my
didn't
goal
get blinded by light like Paul, right?
No,
Or Saul?
almost.
Almost. Okay.
I got kind of slapped. I think I would
Okay.
say Jesus kind of slapped me or maybe poked me in the eye. But I had a definition of manhood was
Okay.
money, women, and business.
Okay.
So Had a partner in business, embezzled money from me, a lot of money.
Yep.
And I sold him the company,
Mm-hmm.
lost my business, lost all the money I had. Girl I thought I was going to marry dumps me. I lose all three things very quickly.
You're not a
And then
man anymore. That's what you thought, right?
and I realized, like, I'm not just bad at business, I'm bad at life. And what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was a church, Celebrate Church in town.
Yeah.
That time they did 6 services a week. I went to every service every week for almost a year. And I
Whoa.
found this book by John Eldridge called Fathered by God.
Okay.
Had a chapter on it called Warrior. In that chapter had Exodus 15:3, which says the Lord is a warrior. I'd never heard that before.
Oh, okay.
Only things I thought about Jesus was he's this dude with babies and lambs. And he said, turn the other cheek so much that they just killed him. That was my thought process
Okay.
around Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. So when I heard the Lord is a warrior, I didn't know what prayer really was, but I said, listen, man, if this is the way you are, I want to know everything about you.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the first time in my life, I said, I'm going to have no goals. I'm going to have no big ideas I'm pursuing. I'm going to put in 10 hours a week because that's what I needed to pay the bills as a single dad. I didn't
Yeah.
need hardly anything.
That's
I said, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to ask you who you are and why you made me as many times as I can think of until you either answer or you tell me to stop asking. And then I just did anything he threw at me.
Okay.
So I started, long story short, I started mentoring all these young dudes.
Yeah, I heard like you had like 70 once, right?
We did. We
Like,
had all these young guys that were just like me, total train wrecks.
yeah.
And I was like, listen, I don't know much, but I know this.
Yeah.
Like the Lord's a warrior. He's the
That's
man maker that you're looking for. And that was my kind of aha moment. It was not an aha moment. It was just like, I'm really bad at this.
Yeah.
And I want to know how life works. And if I know how it works, I'll totally do it.
That's awesome. I just was talking with CJ Wearcamp a couple of weeks ago. We go to Made for More
Yeah.
men's group, and we were talking about like success, and one of the words is like being strong. And then I was like, hey, this devotional like that day had talked about like strength is actually being like patient and kind and like
Yeah.
humble.
Yeah.
And then most of the time you think about strength is like, I'm a strong dude, I can move stuff, I can do this all myself. So it's just like kind of cool how you kind of had that same thing happen back in the day where
Yeah.
the Lord is a warrior. Strength is the perception is different
Yeah.
than what you think until you really dive deep into, you know, your belief system.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
what's cool about God is he'll change you
yeah.
without even he is a gentleman. He'll wait for your permission, but he doesn't really need you to ask him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one quick story I would say about that is I always had this idea of I want to find the CEO who's a billionaire. I want to publish his book and fly around the country in his private jets with him. That was my dream. I will have made it.
Okay.
And I'm in the office with this guy. He is a $1 billion CEO. And maybe he might not have been $1 billion at that time.
Okay.
Close enough.
Close. Yeah.
He's like, Jeremy, I have 7 jets. We can take them around to book tours and this and that. And he basically asked me to do that with him.
You're like, this is awesome.
Well, and I was like, okay, let me like figure this out. And I go out in the parking lot, and some young guy that I was mentoring at the time who was addicted to gambling and all that goes along with
Yeah.
that. He disappeared for like 2 weeks. When that happens, you know they're like in it.
Yeah.
And he calls me back. I'm in the parking lot. He calls me and he's like, Jeremy, I'm back. My grandma's got my checking account. What do I need to do to like get my life on track? And I was more excited about that phone call than that meeting I just had. And I was like, what happened to me?
Yeah.
And that's where I realized like he will slowly over time make us
Mm-hmm.
into something better than we would even ask. Because if I'd called Jesus up, the 10-digit
For sure.
dial, and he said, listen, I'll make you into this, this, and this. I'd have been like, no, thanks. I'd
Yeah.
hang up. I'm not into that. So he changed my interests and my desires without me even really noticing it at the time.
That's
So that's
cool.
when I was like, okay, something happened and this guy works in ways I don't get.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool.
So yeah.
Kind of leading into Sioux Falls a little bit.
Yeah.
So why Sioux Falls? Do you grow up here? Did you like want to leave, come back? Like why Sioux Falls?
So originally I was one of those kids where as soon as I graduate, I'm out of here.
Okay, yeah.
And so born and raised in DeSmet, great small town, arguably I think one of the best small towns in the country.
I don't think I've ever been there. So
It's awesome.
Okay.
Great small town. I move up here. I do Southeast Tech,
Yep.
graduated by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Didn't even realize I graduated till 5 years later.
Oh,
And
whoa.
so I'm up here and I just did it because that's where you come. This is like the big city
Yeah.
back then. But what made me stay here is because I had offices in different parts of the country, you know, as we were doing things. I always stayed here because I think any business you want to build. So if like young entrepreneurs out there, young, whatever, you're starting a business, this is a phenomenal place to do that. I think that it's a big, small town still.
Yeah.
For a little while longer, it will be.
Best big little city or best little big city.
It truly is. And like, there's advantages to that. If you're a good person and you can really do good at what you do and you're good at telling your story, you can authentically connect with people, you're going to win. And so whether you want to get a job or whether you want to start your own business, I think it's a great community for that. And it's a community. So like, I remember showing up at one event once. I think it was when Tim Hankin, who was just on last episode or a couple episodes ago, he was like just about ready to announce. It was like one event before that. So it was a bunch of like Christian business owners. There's probably 300 of them in the room. And I remember looking around going, Brooke, I think we know everybody in this room.
Oh,
that's amazing. Like there's so much value to that.
Yeah.
And there's so much security in that. And you can get there very easily in this town. So I think it's good community. I think it's really good in terms of like where it's going. And then like, so fast forward to now, we helped do a book with Forward Sioux Falls in town about why is Sioux Falls the way it is? Because Sioux Falls is very rare. You don't see the huge economic dips like when we go through recessions, the nation does. Sioux Falls is relatively isolated.
It's just kind of steady as she goes.
It's super steady. It's well diversified. How did that happen? And so like sometime in like, it was like 1989 or sometime in the 1980s, a group of people, Sioux Falls economic development leaders got together and said, here's going to be our vision. And they started to piece together a plan for that. And they take it, I think, in 4 or 5 year increments at Forward Sioux Falls. And I think that's like the game changer, like the system behind the community nobody sees or maybe knows about and doesn't need to know about. It's like, that's it, is Forward Sioux Falls. And like the system and the process they put in place to like, here's how we strategically move this community forward, like 1 4 to 5 year increment at a time. And it is legit. Like, I think that is what separates this community and will keep it that way for a long time.
For sure. And I know, I was talking with Josh Muckenhern, who I haven't had him on. Maybe I should have him on.
Yeah.
But he was saying like a lot of those people who were part of that like development committee was like the old money, as they call it.
Yeah.
And like, they're kind of like getting into retiree stage and like the new like crew has to start integrating itself.
Yep.
Do you see like that continuing to happen, or is it like, oh, we don't know who these new players are yet? Or
well, I think there's like the leadership in place right now. That's why they did the book, was they're like, we need to make sure the next generation knows the story and knows what and why and how this whole thing got started. So I think that comes down to, and which is happening now, the current leaders identifying those people and reaching out to them and engaging them and then seeing what happens. So I think that's absolutely happening.
For sure.
And I think it will. And I think there's a ton of talent in the area and just good leaders
for sure
who are willing to step up. So I think it's absolutely going to continue.
Cool. What are 3 things to change about Sioux Falls? I mean, Sioux Falls is awesome already, but like 3 things that you think would make it even better. And if you can't think of 3, some people give 1 or 2 or so. Hey, are you thinking about moving to Sioux Falls? If so, go to my website, movetosiouxfalls.com, to download the free relocation guide. And now back to the episode.
3 things that will make Sioux Falls better. That is a very good question. Well, I'll tell you from a land development perspective.
Okay,
this isn't quite so Sioux Falls.
Okay.
The not even the metro area, maybe like 10-mile radius.
Yeah, surrounding area.
Man, let's some subdivides. Make the subdivide process a little more investor friendly.
Yeah, talk to Jeremy. He knows how it goes.
I think it would create some unique opportunities. I think it would make opportunities for smaller acreages to come about. Like I'm talking like 1 acre to 2 acre parcels. That's very selfish perspective.
Okay.
Would that help Sioux Falls? I don't know. I know it helped me. So that's why I'm answering it that way. But I think it would create opportunities for, people to be able to buy like legit, like we could really make affordable housing, innovative affordable housing. I think you'd see new markets pop up. Like you go down some of the places I buy and sell land in, you'll see all kinds of like very unique shed to house
or
businesses,
ADUs. Yep.
all those things, super innovative. So maybe that I don't know what that would do for Sioux Falls.
Maybe like some of the new leaders that are on Forward Sioux Falls kind of like integrate that into their model for like 10 years from now.
Well,
maybe 5 years. I mean, Sioux Falls changes so quickly.
That'd be a great idea.
So.
I think, and maybe this is happening without me even knowing, but I'm thinking of guys like the first person comes to mind, like Lawrence, Scott Lawrence. You got leaders like him who I'm like, I wish they were on a platform a little bit more, going open forum Q&A. Like, I think that would be a game changer. I think it'd create opportunities, and that's probably already happening. I just don't even know about it. But like regular, non-scripted, non-programmed, non-produced. Here's Scott Lawrence. The dude is a wealth of, he's unbelievable leader. We have so many unbelievable leaders in this town. Like really, we really do. And being like, hey, he's going to show up for an hour. There's an open forum Q&A. Ask him anything about business. I think that would be amazing. I'd come to every single one of them.
Well, he's going to be on my next one then. Or then
Scott Lawrence, he's awesome. Dude.
You could send me his contact info, hopefully?
He's done a great book. You can call him Mr. L.
Mr. L, okay.
He was a band instructor, wildly successful, and he learned everything about being a CEO, kind of.
Through band instructing?
Band instructors. That's kind of the
wow, what an interesting story.
And there's leaders like that around here that you talk about, like building up the next generation. I think that open forum Q&A or an intimate panel setting of like, here's what we're going to talk about today. Like that dude knows how to build talent in an organization like nobody.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't say like nobody. I shouldn't be that extreme, but he's
in the top
there's
tier.
A lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that around here. Because look what we got to do around here. We don't have that much population.
Yeah.
And they're pulling. There's a lot of companies like this around here, building talent. That's a huge investment of time, of money. It's huge risk. There's a lot of downside if they lead all the things. I think that would be a game changer. That's gonna be the one thing I say. Because I know if you want to like, how is Sioux Falls growing? What's going to happen? Look at Forward Sioux Falls and what they're up to, the big economic development plays. I think we got like a lion at the zoo now. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like those little things, people are thinking about that. He'd be another one, like Craig Lloyd. Put him in an open mic and be like, ask him anything about business. He's amazing. He'll answer questions. You got Dennis Annenson in town, A&B Business. I don't want to start listing people because
dude, I love it. I'm like,
that's
my
what
mind
I would
is
do.
just going who I can add on to
Move
here.
to Sioux Falls, dude. Like for real, if you get that, do it in this kind of a setting.
Yeah.
Scott Lawrence and you right up there.
Okay.
Ask
and
him
then
anything.
Just have people come here.
So legit. It'd be amazing. So,
should we just do like a house party with like caterers?
That'd be amazing.
Be like, hey, anyone who wants to come to this house, come on in.
And I say that because when we write a book, I interview somebody for 8 to 24 hours.
Okay.
So I hear their whole story. And I think that's been the most enriching part of my business life by far.
And it's not through a podcast, though. It's just
not
like
through a podcast.
Personal interview, one-on-one.
It's to write their book.
Gotcha.
So before we do anything, I say, I need to know your whole story.
Okay.
If you feel like God's leading you in that direction, you don't quite know what it is, you need to look back because he's put all the road signs along the way.
Yeah.
So we do that first, and then we talk about and break down why all their content. So like, I feel like I have been enriched so much from that process. And so that's always my first thing of like, you can learn how to do anything. When I got into land, didn't know a thing, but I went to this guy and said, you're doing what I want to do. What do I need to pay you for you to open up your mind to me and for me to buy some of your systems? And I did that to like 5-10 people. I still do it to this day. Whoever is playing the level I want to go to, I don't want to join a coaching program. I don't want to do that kind of stuff. I want a practitioner. So like these people I'm talking to you about are practitioners. I'd rather have an hour with a practitioner than a week with an instructor because you can get so much from a practitioner who's willing and you show up with the right questions. So that's why I'm saying like, that's where my mind goes there. So I say, make subdivides easier, open forum, some of these amazing CEOs. That's a huge opportunity that would enrich the area because it's the transfer of wisdom in the
For sure.
territory we're in is a huge thing.
Yeah, I think Dennis and I with 605 Video Company was shooting this. We thought about like doing a live YouTube, and maybe that'll be like our thing, man. So
Think about,
live
like-
YouTube with the open forum, and whoever
dude,
wants to come can
Do it.
come.
I'd show up.
Maybe
And
we'd have to have security or something just in case.
why
but
not?
Why not? It'd be fun.
And I think that, like, if you look at, I don't really listen to much anymore, but I used to listen to Gary Vee.
Oh yeah.
And what
okay.
I liked was when he would get super in-depth details. He'd do these things called 4Ds.
Okay.
But he would just basically set a camera there. There's a group of people around him, and he's just answering questions. It's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
But that's when you get the real stuff, practitioner stuff,
Yeah.
not the motivational speaking stuff and this and that. That's all fine. There's a place for that. I want practitioner stuff.
I hate
And
the
so-
courses. Like I feel like I see a new course out every single day on Instagram or social media. And it's just like, I think you're right. Like if you can just pick someone's brain, have a mentor in place as well, like that's kind of the keys to getting to, I don't know if it's success, but at least like growth,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
in the right direction.
Yeah. So that'd be my things. Subdivisions,
Subdivisions,
make minor land divides a little
Okay.
easier, and then
open
forum
forums.
CEOs
Okay.
and people like, even like Randall Beck
Okay.
used to be the leader at the Argus Leader way back in the day. Amazing guy.
Yeah.
Doug Morrison, like community leader, Rick McCorris,
Oh,
those
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of guys. Like we could just rattle off names. Like we got
For
a wealth
sure.
of knowledge,
Yeah.
and you could interview them.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even need to be produced. The less produced, the better.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about this.
No,
and then
I'm
just
glad.
gonna
I'm
call
glad. That was
I'm
great.
calling these guys.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I'm just gonna send you a text. Hey, give me contact info for all these guys. We're gonna try to have them on Move to Sioux Falls podcast, or we're gonna just do an open forum where we just have the mics and maybe one wide shot, and that's it.
Boom,
That'd be fun.
done.
Yeah.
Schedule
So,
it.
we don't need Trader Joe's, right? Everyone's brought it up besides you, so I'm yeah.
They're never coming.
Yeah.
Hy-Vee's got this market locked down.
Good.
Trader Joe's isn't coming.
Hy-Vee.
They're never coming. Unless something happens at Hy-Vee and their trajectory changes. That's
for
my
sure.
thought process around it. They ain't coming here.
Okay,
I
so
don't think so.
land, books, family stuff. Like, are you into sports? Are you into like anything besides those three things? Getting in the mind of Jeremy Brown.
I love the outdoors. Like I
Okay.
think that's what's great about Sioux Falls too.
Yeah.
You got a lot of outdoor activities that are really, really good. I think that I used to watch Notre Dame football.
Okay.
I grew up watching Rudy and Garth Brooks.
Oh, there you go.
So when I find something, I just put it on repeat.
Okay.
I've been that way my whole life. I watched Rudy 100 times. I listened to one Garth Brooks concert 100 times. I read that John Eldridge book I told you about. I read that one chapter Warrior every day for a year.
Okay.
Like that's my style. Like, okay, this works. I'm going to do it until it doesn't work or I don't need it anymore.
I feel like that's very like my grandparents' style. You're like in a 80-year-old mindset in a 12-year-old to 20-year-old body when you read that book and you watch those things. So, and then that's kind of like continued. So,
Well, and like same thing with land. Just put it on repeat.
For
just
sure.
like you're doing with Listen at Sodak. Sodak stays.
Sodak stays.
It's
Yep.
obvious you guys have done this many, many times. You got it dialed in,
Yep.
and that's how you get good. And it's a full-time job to keep something simple.
Well, and I think people just get like bored, right? They're like, oh, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. But you got to just like find what you're passionate about first, and then it won't matter, right? Like you talked about the CEO with 7 planes. And then the guy who you were mentoring, you probably mentored many, many people over and over, but you got excited about it. And it's like, hey, that's like the thing to be excited about. That's what you're passionate about. When people talk about, what's the saying? If you do what you love, it's not really working. And I feel like sometimes work gets monotonous unless you're passionate about it.
And it will always get monotonous.
Yeah.
Work is always going to get monotonous at some point.
Yeah.
And I think like as long as you can touch certain parts that really light you up,
Mhm.
it's enough to like get you through another week of monotony. Because there is a lot of monotonous stuff. And like I have to go review 4 warranty deeds and 4 affidavits of property
Oh.
value after this. And I guarantee I'm going to find some errors. It's been looked at by my paralegal, my assistant, title company, escrow officer. It's now on my desk. it's amazing how that small volume of paperwork can still have errors. But like, I'll be like, no, you missed the slash right here.
Yeah.
And that changes the whole legal description of the property.
Yeah.
So it's like there's mundane, monotonous stuff and everything. I think it's long as you can just touch certain aspects that really light you up
Yeah.
and not put the expectation on, I'm going to love it all the time. You're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Even the city, like you're going to be disappointed. Like when I'm given into organizations, I like locking arms with charities and like putting them on repeat for a little bit, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's a part where I'm like super excited about it. And then there's a part where I'm like, I don't feel anything. It's part of the process. And am I excited about it, or does it just need to be done? And like I tell my sons, I'm like, you don't have to feel like doing it. You just need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about how you feel. Just do it. You don't got to feel good about it. Just do it.
You know,
And you'll feel good after.
Yeah. I had two thoughts that kind of came to mind when you said that. Is one is like when you're an employee, like working for someone else, sometimes you don't know why this person might be like all your reviewing people, right? They're like, Jeremy caught that thing. Like, how does he always catch that like little thing? Is he a micromanager? Is he just, it's just because like it's part of your business. It's part of your passion. It's like, you have ownership of it. And I think that's like the difference between running your own company and like working for someone else.
Yeah.
And
I lose big time.
Yeah.
That slash isn't there. I lose.
Yes.
A lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I got the pain motivation too.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think the other thought that came to mind was like when you do something, like you talked about your sons, like every time by like Friday at noon, I'll like get into something where I'm like, I just got to do this thing. And then by like 3 hours in, it'll be like 3-4 o'clock. My wife's calling me like, hey, it's Friday. Come on back home or like get done. I'm like, no, I'm into this now. I like somehow it morphed into like, I'm excited about like this thing that I didn't want to do turned into, oh, I'm almost done with it. I'm like at the end of the road and getting done a task.
That's right.
And the journey to get done a task feels like so successful.
Yes.
That you're like, oh, I'm on fire for this now.
Yeah. And it feels good to get something done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which, I mean, is one of your books. Get it done.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Finish.
Yeah.
Finishing is a very fine art and skill to finish something. You can have something bad that needs to be finished, but you can let it linger.
Mm-hmm.
You can have something that's good and you're just sitting in that little space
for
where
sure.
it like just finish it, get it done, close the chapter, move on. Finishing is a wonderful thing.
That's awesome. Well, I think we got enough time here to talk forever, but I think we got it done here on the Move to Sioux Falls podcast. Jeremy, let the audience know maybe what you got going on these next like a week or two, most important thing going on in your life, and then we'll wrap it up.
Most important thing in my life in the next week or two. Shoot. I don't know what I would say is the most important, but I'm doing the mundane, man.
Okay.
I'm changing diapers. I'm taking care of kids. I'm making sure my wife is happy, supported, all the things.
Awesome.
I'm doing the next deal in front of me. That's it.
That's awesome.
There
Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. We should have went like, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
That should have been it.
Yeah.
That would be great. Wait.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching. This episode was shot at the Atomic Ranch. If you want to experience Sioux Falls, check out this property or any of our other properties at sodakstays.com.